back to Hallmarkies podcast. We are back today with another episode of Once Upon an Upside, and today we are covering 2 Up movie releases from back in August. I am Amy, and I am here with my co-host Jess.
Hello, everybody.
Hey guys. So today we are covering 2 recent Up movies, which are Love by Accident and Win, Lose, or Love. So these came out in early August, so we're catching up slowly, but sure, to getting all caught up on Up. And they just released their fall lineup, so should be covering that soon. There's some interesting ones on there. So I can't wait to get those covered soon. But all right, let's jump right into it and get started with Love by Accident. So this movie came out, I believe, on like August 2nd, and this was actually a brand new premiere. This was made in 2020, or it might have been made in 2019, but this is the first time it's ever been anywhere, is on Up, so like this is a really fresh one. And this was about Matt and Daphne. So this is really Love by Accident because the whole movie starts when her godmother does crash their RV into
to like the donut shop or something.
And Matt comes running out to help them. So it was really an accident. So then this story for the rest of it, we have Daphne's godmother, who I believe the character's name was Fran, is very ill, and so Daphne doesn't want her driving anymore, and Daphne doesn't drive herself. So she makes up this fake boyfriend plot with...
Because that always works.
It always works. Fake boyfriend, pretend boyfriend, always works. With Matt, and and it plays out from there. And this is a very Jane Austen-centric movie.
Mm-hmm.
This is very, very interesting. So, yes, what did you think of this movie, Jess?
Well, for starters, I really appreciated that it was a diverse movie. But unfortunately, that's about all I liked about the movie. I was really bored during this movie. I don't know. I just couldn't get into it. I struggled to finish it.
My goodness. Okay, so we have some opposing opinions here. This was also a very diverse movie, which I did appreciate. But I love this movie, like, so much. Like, some of it was corny, and there was definitely, like, dorky moments, but, like, I loved it so much. I thought it was so cute. So, okay, well, okay. So let's get into talking about them. So the person who played Matt was Henderson Wade. He was in an Up Christmas movie last year called Snowbound for Christmas, which was pretty good. And then who played Daphne was, okay, I apologize if I butcher this. I tried to look up how to pronounce this name, and I couldn't find every pronunciation I found was different. So Getanish, Burr, like Daphne. I am so sorry. I am so sorry. If someone knows how to pronounce this name properly, please let me know, because I feel so bad. But I think it's Getanish, Burr, I think.
Guess is as good as mine.
Yeah, and then Fran was played by Lynette Ware, and then there was also some other familiar faces in this movie, like Yannick, Gilmore Girls, and yeah, so familiar faces. But yeah, this movie literally starts with a car accident.
Starts with a bang.
Yeah, literally. So what did you think happened? Because she comes running out of the RV. Daphne comes running out of the RV, and Matt's there and everything, and you're like, what happened? So the whole purpose of this road trip is because they're going to spread her godfather's ashes where her godmother was proposed to, on the West Coast. And so they're somewhere in the Midwest, I'm thinking, yeah, is where they end up almost running into the donut/coffee shop. Okay. So this is very, so then the officer Paul shows up and is interviewing her for what's going on, and why was there a car accident? We found out Daphne does not drive. She has a little bit, she has some anxiety when it comes to driving because of a car accident that happened previously. And we also find out that she is a huge Jane Austen fan, so much that she's getting a PhD, and her thesis is
all about Jane Austen.
Jane Austen. I actually, what did you think of their incorporation of Jane Austen into this movie, of the book and everything?
I liked it. I thought that was nice. Although I have to say, so Matt apparently has never heard of Pride and Prejudice, and I was just like, I can understand maybe never having read it, but never having heard of Pride and Prejudice. I'm like, does this guy live under a rock? Like,
apparently, I mean, you'd think he'd have heard of something. I do think they did a good job of incorporating Jane Austen's work in this movie. Specifically because, you know, on Hallmark in the past couple years, we've gotten some pretty poorly made Christmas movies that related to, that were supposed to be Jane Austen themed, and they weren't great. So this, I think, did a lot better job of actually incorporating Jane Austen, and it made more sense than some of the ones we've gotten on Hallmark previously. Yeah. So, but there was really cute kids in this movie too. I just want to say, little baby girl, I was like, she's so good, because the first time you see her, she has these cute little bows, like pink bows. Yeah. Adorable. And the look on Daphne's face when he picks the baby up out of the car and sees, which is, we know, his sister, but she's like, oh, he's got a wife and a kid.
Yeah, she's making those assumptions. Never do that.
Exactly. And you're like, oh, it's your niece. We get some heartfelt storylines in this movie. So talking about her and her godmother and her godfather, who they're taking his ashes to spread, but as well about, we find out about the accident that causes her to have about an anxiety about driving. We find out that her parents passed in a car accident with her godmother's daughter in the car.
Yeah, it was Maggie, right? Was the godmother's daughter?
Yeah. And unfortunately, they all passed in the accident. And I mean, I think that's a very legitimate reason to be worried about driving.
Yeah. And I will say that scene between Fran and Daphne, where they talk about like Daphne's guilt over being the survivor, that was an incredible scene. I will give this movie that, even though I couldn't quite get into it, that scene was really phenomenally acted. It was really well done.
Yes, it was a very, very powerful scene, I think. And yeah, it was very, very heartfelt as well. So then we also get, I think one of the things that made me, that kind of, the only thing that was a little bit off for me was Matt's dad. We heard about how he had left when he was younger, but he showed up in the movie, and we were already like an hour and 15 minutes into the movie when he showed up. And I feel like that was a little late. Like it didn't make me invested as much in that portion because it was so late in the movie. I feel like it should have come in maybe a little bit earlier.
Yeah, it felt just kind of like it got tagged on at the end and it wasn't quite incorporated earlier on in the story. That would have made it flow a little bit better. I agree on that. That seemed to come out of nowhere for me. I'm like, what? Okay, changing gears.
But we did get an early, like a lot of kisses. We got a lot of kisses.
That's true. Way more than we've probably ever seen in Hallmark.
Yeah, exactly. Like the first one was like 15, 20 minutes in, and it was like a surprise, which was just, it was so funny. She was like, I don't want my aunt to drive. I don't want my aunt to leave. I'm just gonna kiss this guy. I'm just gonna catch him, take him off guard, and just go.
Because why not?
Why not?
And he just seemed to, kind of go along with this idea very, very naturally and easily. He didn't really seem to like be put off by it. He was just like, oh, okay, I'm your fake boyfriend now.
All right, let's go for it. And like, he wasn't resistant of it either. And like, he practically asked her out on a date, like right then and there. Okay, let's go get ice cream. Like, all right, they're into this. But he did say, I wrote this quote down, and she said, I'm not good at it, referring to like being in a relationship or whatever. And he's like, well, nobody's good at it, but you seem pretty dateable to me. I was like, all right. So funny comment. Then we had a little side romance between our, nosy librarian Judy and Officer Paul.
Yeah. That was one of the things I didn't quite get, because at first, I guess my first impression was that she had zero interest in him, and then all of a sudden it like flipped just like that, and I was really confused on what was happening.
It's a little weird. I was like, but okay. Also though, he's always hanging out in this library. Like, he has a job.
He's got to protect those books from people like Fran, who dumped a pot of coffee on a book in my heart. That was hard to watch.
I'm like, she's working on her thesis on Jane Austen, and you just destroyed her Jane Austen book. Like,
I know.
Calm down.
I was like, man, she is quite fiery.
Yeah, exactly. It was pretty, oh my goodness. Their ice cream date I thought was really cute. The whole thing, pistachio ice cream, and then his sister being all like, oh, you shared your ice cream with them? Like, what? His sister was such, like, I loved his sister character. I thought she was fun.
Yeah.
And the kids were cute. I thought it was funny. At one point, Matt takes Daphne to like their family dinner, like whatever, and the little boy was like, is your last name Green too? And she's like, no. And he's like, well, then why are you here?
I know. He was like giving her quite the interview there.
Pretty cute. There was a cute shopping montage between the sister and Daphne. And then she got him to read Pride and Prejudice. I
know.
Like, you go.
It's pretty impressive.
You go, girl. You got him to read Jane Austen. Good job. Yeah, and then one of my favorite moments at the end was when it was kind of like, I guess, meta to be in one of these movies, and he walked into the library and was like, I even read the notes in the back of the book, and I learned about how not sharing your feelings leads to misunderstandings and heartbreak and all this other stuff. That's the basis of every mark-up Lifetime movie.
I know.
I just thought it was a very funny element. Yeah, so what else is there to talk about? My brain hurts.
He makes up with his dad.
He does make up with his dad. That seemed a little, like we talked about, far removed. Like, it seemed like a weird addition, and it was kind of late in the movie. I do think it was a good aspect though, because both of them at the same time were having to like work through something, which was, I think, the purpose of his dad coming back in, is because they were both working through something difficult from their past, and they were kind of able to bond over that. It just seemed like it was a little late in the movie to have that for his storyline to me.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then he got in an RV and drove to her, and they kissed again. They were real boyfriend and girlfriend instead of pretend.
That's right.
Yeah. Do you have any more thoughts or? Got in my brain.
I don't think so. Oh, he quotes Darcy to her at the end, which was quite romantic.
I was like, oh, you go, Mr. Darcy.
I mean, you probably can't say no to that. That when you're writing your thesis on Jane Austen, he just come and quotes Darcy to you. I mean,
yeah, like,
you can't say no.
It was so good too. Like, he presented it so well that I was like, oh, this is like swoon worthy. I want to see him, both main actor and actress I enjoyed a lot, but I would love to see Henderson weighed in more. So keep casting him and things. Yeah, he did really good. And yeah, so if you had to rate this movie, Jess, what would you give it balloons out of 10?
I only gave it 3.5.
Oh my
I'm sorry.
gosh.
I'm sorry.
I gave it an 8.
It just goes to show, though, that a movie some people can really love a movie and some can really not, and that's okay.
It feels to everybody differently. I think the reason I didn't give it higher, because like it was like I was like almost on Christmas level, but it wasn't that. It wasn't all there though, because it had a little bit of the meta-ness that I enjoyed in Christmas. I don't know if I'm using that word correctly, but it was very close to some of the jokes in Christmas Movies Christmas, but it wasn't there. It wasn't all there. Also, the whole dad thing, that kind of being added in last minute, that kind of threw me off a little bit. So that's why I gave it an 8. But yeah, okay. Well, difference in opinion. Different.
Okay.
All right, so we are going to head over to the next movie from this August lineup. I believe this came out like second, third week of August. And this is Win, Lose, or Love. So this movie is centered all around PTA. So
all about those school activities.
School activities, guys. So we have a single mom and a single dad who are, so we have a single mom, Clara, and a single dad, Alex. And Alex is trying to get a commercial greenlit to be on the school campus during sports day. And because of that, he tries to join the PTA. So he's trying to join the HPG, which is basically the PTA for this school, to get this commercial to happen.
Yes.
And Clara is the vice president currently of said HPG, and she's not going for this commercial. She's like, why does it only have to be sports day? What about other things that kids do for activities? And then they both get voted co-presidents for 2 weeks, which in this movie they made 2 weeks sound like it was a decade. It kind of just goes on from there. So what did you think of this movie?
I thought it was a solid movie. I thought it was fun and cute. And I liked the side relationship too with the grandma and the teacher. That was fun. And it was nice to see Catherine Hicks. I haven't seen her in anything in a while, so that was nice. And I think this movie was like, it was kind of helped by ups, because sometimes like the up movies, they have so many things happening, and I felt like they kind of kept the side things to a minimum, which was nice.
Yeah, so I agree. There was not as much going on in this movie, which I really appreciated. And I didn't understand why he was getting involved in the PTA at all. Like, because if it's approved by the school, like the school board, the principal, those important people, why does the PTA matter? Like, why? Like,
what I learned from this movie is that the PTA has total power over the entire school.
Apparently, I did not know. I'm in education. I had no idea.
At least at this school, the PTA.
At this school, I guess. Yes, I was like, because once they said in that first meeting that he had gotten approval from the principal and everything to do this, I was like, well, then really all they need is waivers from the kids' parents to make sure they're okay to be filmed and be in this commercial. Other than that, he really doesn't need any permission from the parent-teacher club.
Yeah.
So it was a little confusing to me, but at this school, everything has to go through the PTA, so that's we just got to accept that. Oh, and the old PTA president, that lady made me mad, because she was like, well, just because your kid isn't good at sports.
I know. I was like, whew.
What?
Calm down, lady. Calm down.
Calm down.
So all very invested parents.
Everyone was very invested in this. And then I feel like it kind of, the movie swayed a little bit. I feel like it was like very kind of divisive almost. Like I didn't understand it really, because most kids don't just like sports. Like they do other things than just a sport, especially when they're younger and they're trying things out.
Yeah.
So it just seemed very weird to me how they it's like sports and everything else. I'm like, okay.
Yeah. Well, part of what they mentioned was that like they were scheduled at the same time, so you had to choose, because like the sports practice would go on when like drama club was meeting, so you couldn't be in both. So, which again, if you're in PTA, you could probably change the schedule.
Yeah, exactly.
Activities.
And also, why is the PTA running all these after school activities? Wouldn't some of them be ran by the school? And there was only one actual teacher from the school that was involved in this entire movie. So
he should be the new principal.
Yeah,
he practically is.
I'm like, where was the principal? I don't know. There were all these things going on in the school, all these decisions, and the principal had nothing to do with any of it, apparently. It confused me. Well, there's sports day. Was that the only activity they were allowed to do in the school all year?
Was there no other Friday nights that they could have had an art gallery or a performance of some sort?
Yeah, it would have been a good compromise.
Yeah, they could have had other activities, days, and events. I mean, most schools I know of, they have, you know, their winter concert, and then they have an art exhibition, and then they have, you know,
all or nothing. All or nothing.
Yeah, they have all these other days and things, but apparently sports day is the only event that is allowed to go on this entire year for the school. I didn't understand it. Okay, but ignoring all those things that I did not understand about this movie, there was some like sweet scenes in this movie. So definitely, once Alex's daughter Emma wrote a very beautiful poem about her mother who had passed in drama club once she joined, and I think that was very sweet. And there was a lot of other, you know, like heartfelt scenes when they're sitting on the swings talking about things. There was a moment where he talked to her about balloons and stuff.
Oh, something I found a little interesting, or a little weird, I guess, was that like, so the dad, Alex was his name, right? He like didn't seem to have time for any of his daughter's activities, but then all of a sudden he's like super willing to help out Oliver with soccer. And I was like, you're not even with your own daughter. That's like half the point. So that was something that I thought was a little interesting. I was like, okay. And then of course the mom like totally overreacted about him helping him with soccer. Like, he'll be okay. I know like you don't want your child to get hurt, but it's just soccer.
Yeah. You gotta let go.
It's not boxing.
I know. It's an elementary school soccer team. There's injuries, but I'm not sure. I do have to say, some of these PTA meetings they did, like the second one where he was just sitting there and they talked for like 5 seconds about things, like where the bus stop was or whatever. It was like that whole meeting could have been an email. Just most of these meetings for this PTA could have been an email. Why? Also, I don't remember PTA meetings ever, like in a 2-week period, they had like 12.
I know, they were super involved.
Got together so many times.
They did.
I also thought it was really funny how they were choosing to do Shakespeare with 10-year-olds.
I know.
Like, it was cute. It was adorable, but at the same time, I was surprised how much the kids were able to, like, analyze what they were talking about and everything. I think it was very interesting.
Yeah, when, like, Emma came in and she just, like, sat in and she's like, oh, yeah, I totally get what just happened here in Shakespeare. I'm like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
You're better than most high schoolers.
I know. Like, most adults aren't able to understand what's going on in Shakespeare. So
yeah.
That was really cute. And then it ended up being that they saw each other and they started to understand each other more. So they turned sports day into a full activities day. And then suddenly this whole company that the commercials for is also now an activity store, not just a sports store. Like, he changed his entire business plan.
He's rebranding.
Because of this. Well, this movie was very far-fetched.
Yeah. I did like the little commercial they finally did at the end. Like, that was really cute, I thought, what they did at the end.
Yeah, it was very cute because they shot the goal, they were doing theater, he had kids, had kids playing instruments and stuff. So it was a lot of fun, and it was a good commercial I think they made.
I thought it was really funny when she handed him 800 envelopes to stuff, and he's
yes,
take it.
That is so realistic though, because PTA stuff, it's always like you gotta stuff things.
Yeah, I'm like, that was realistic.
Stamps, like, yeah, that would happen. Like, here you go. You're gonna be stuffing envelopes all weekend. You better find something you like to watch on Netflix, because like, you're gonna be stuffing envelopes for hours. Yeah, it was super realistic. Also, the mom, we talked about Catherine Hicks, who played Dot, and the teacher who was involved, the only teacher that was in this entire movie, they had a cute little relationship, and I thought it was cute how he wanted to have her be incorporated into their drama production. I thought it was very sweet. It was a very cute side romance that didn't, like, it wasn't too much, it wasn't too little. I just thought it was cute.
It's like the perfect amount.
Yeah, perfect amount. Cute addition to the movie. The kids were adorable. Emma and Oliver.
Yes.
Cute. I loved. There was one scene where she was looking at her laptop that Oliver had used, and Oliver had Googled how to have your parents let you play sports.
I know. I was like, oh.
And she saw it, and I was like, oh, that's so like. So cute.
Yeah, their kids were like interested in the opposite things of what they were actually doing,
which was so funny. Yeah. So, all in all, it was a cute movie. Not very realistic. Had some cute elements. Had some heartfelt moments. So what would you rate this? How many balloons out of 10 do you think this movie should have?
I gave it a solid 7 out of 10. So it was cute, it was fun, and yeah, just a really good movie. Nothing like, I feel like it was like just missing something that made like to take it from like a good movie to a great movie. I'm not exactly sure what that was, but they had good chemistry and it was good.
Yeah. So I gave it a 6.5 out of 10. It was good. Not my favorite, but it was really good. All right, so thank you guys so much for listening. Tell us what you thought of these two movies in the comments down below, or let us know on social media. We would like to know what you thought of these movies. Who did you agree with more with Love by Accident?
Yeah, we need to know.
Yeah, do you agree with me? Do you think it was a really good one of the best of the year? Or do you agree with Jess, though? Do you think it was not a good movie this year? Like, what do you think? Are you in the middle? What do you think? Let us know. Yes. But other than that, if you want to find Upside anywhere, you can follow us OUAUPSIDE on social media, Instagram and Twitter. And if you want to find Hallmarkies Podcast anywhere, you can type Hallmarkies Pod anywhere that you can search things pretty much on social media. We got one. Please subscribe to us on YouTube, follow us on Patreon, follow us on iTunes. We have some awesome merch out right now, and when this episode's going up, we are really preparing right now for our Christmas season. So we hope you're ready.
It's coming.
Again, it's approaching. And we are going to get started very soon with Christmas. So where can people find you on the internet, Jess?
You can find me on Instagram and Twitter at JessBSWblog.
You can find me on YouTube, Instagram, and Twitter at It's Amy Craig. And you, of course, can find the podcast anywhere at Hallmarkies Pod. Thank you guys again so much for watching or listening, and we will talk to you guys all very, very soon. Bye.
Bye.